It is Wednesday, September 20th, 2023 at Protestia Studios, and these are your latest headlines in Christian polemics and discernment news from all over the interwebs. You can head over to protestia.com to read the latest and see what's going on. Thank you to our intrepid patron supporters for bringing this program and this writing and all of this ministry to you by partnering with us on a financial level for only $5.95 a month. And you can join them by going to patreon.com/Protestia. We would be honored to have your support as well. Getting into the headlines today. First headline at Protestia.com. Disgraced Pastor Johnny Hunt claims his extramarital encounter is nobody else's business. Okay. So here's Johnny Hunt, and 13 years ago, the disgraced pastor and former SBC president Johnny Hunt engaged in what he describes as a brief consensual extramarital encounter. That's a word salad to describe it, I guess. And what the woman involved maintains was non-consensual sexual assault. His church was never told about the incident, and it remained a secret for a decade until it became outed in the recent Guidepost investigation. And it says, this is a quote from the investigation. During the investigation, an SBC pastor and his wife came forward to report that SBC President Johnny Hunt had sexually assaulted his wife. We include this sexual assault allegation in the report because our investigators found the pastor and his wife to be credible. The report was corroborated in part by a counseling minister and 3 other credible witnesses, and our investigators did not find Dr. Hunt's statements related to the sexual assault allegation to be credible. So apparently that is how now Johnny Hunt is saying that it is none of anybody's business. Apparently he was quickly restored. After all this happened, he was quickly restored by some friends. He is now traveling and preaching on the conference circuit and has apparently filed a lawsuit against the Southern Baptist Convention and Guidepost, claiming that they defamed and libeled him. Good luck with that. Though his primary contention seems to be with the Guidepost report, the fact that current SBC President Bart Barber called the woman in question an abuse survivor didn't help matters much, and Hunt is alleging substantial reputation and economic harm, as well as personal harm and anguish. You can head over to Protestia to read the rest of that story and see the links to additional information if you so please. Next headline at Protestia, Lecrae. Lecrae says, urban Christianity is a hotbed for racism and homophobia. But real Christianity isn't like that. Following deconstructed rapper Lecrae's recent controversies suggesting Jesus would have been considered racist in his time, and then being forced to discontinue his I Can Quote Cardi B and Corinthians line of t-shirts, we wanted to highlight, and I think I said that he said Jesus would be considered racist. This says he would be considered ratchet. I guess that's a thing. I don't know. Somebody's going to have to clue me in on what exactly that means. We wanted to highlight something he said in a now deleted video. This deleted video, he claimed big city Christianity was a hotbed for racism, homophobia, anti-intellectualism, and then reveals he wants to distance himself from that because that's not what real Christianity is. Let's see if we have the video linked here. Here it is. You can decide for yourself.
The shirt was not about promoting debauchery or worldliness. That wasn't the intention. Now, I can own the fact that I should have put more thought into that before we dropped it. I didn't even consider some of these realities. Context is king, and Christianity in major cities and places that I dwell is a hotbed for racism, political ideology, homophobia, anti-intellectualism. And I always want to push back on people when they think that, because we're not. That's not what Christianity is, but a lot of people think that's what it is. So I'm always trying to help them understand, no, we are where you are. You are welcome to come talk to Jesus, whatever space and place of life is. When Jesus was at Caesarea Philippi, he said, upon this.
Is this like Lecrae's version of the He Gets Us campaign?
I mean, where we at?
Scholars have come to understand he's not talking about Peter, he's talking about Caesarea Philippi itself, which was a very worldly, pagan,
so what are we doing?
Ritual-esque place. Lots of orgies happening there. And it
looks like this is maybe a video clip from somebody else watching it and clipping it, because you can hear a voice that's sort of talking over the top. But near the end of this article, we have links to where Lecrae apparently says he regularly watches pornographic TV shows, stopped going to church, rebuked a street preacher for preaching the gospel at a rap concert, claimed hanging out on a bus, chopping it up is church, and that a recent album release party where people hang out, eat food, and get free tattoos is church. So a bunch of Lecrae links in the bottom of this. He is now making an appearance, some of you know, on a sub podcast for the Holy Post with Phil Vischer and Sky Jitani and other really reputable evangelical voices like Russell Moore. So we'll be. I guess the first one dropped a couple of days ago, so we may be looking into that and kind of seeing what's going on if we have the time. Next headline. New survey says only 84% of Protestants identify as straight, and half the atheists are gay. Not very surprising statistically as far as I'm concerned. A new survey from Social Research and American Baptist pastor Ryan Burge paints a bleak portrait of the sexuality and identities of professing believers, revealing that only 84% identify as straight, nearly 1 in 5 as LGBTQ. And so this is a screenshot of Ryan's tweet here with sort of a graphed out version of sexual orientation combined with or looked at in context of what somebody describes himself as far as their faith goes. It's a disturbing result, but it is also not particularly surprising given that most mainline Protestants surveyed belong in the atheist camp. They're surely tilting the results. By and large, they are completely deceived and deceiving others, with most of them having already been given over to Satan. If there's anyone susceptible to the same-sex social contagion sweeping across the land, it's going to be the purple-haired ELCA pastoresses and neurodivergent PCUSA lay people using they-them pronouns. Head over to Protestia to see the rest of this information and some of the graphs and see them lay it out. Like I said when introing the article, not particularly surprising as far as the actual outcome. Next headline at Protestia, former Kentucky clerk Kim Davis fined $100,000 for refusing to sign a gay marriage license in 2015, and she will appeal. So this is Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, who back in 2015 was refusing to sign gay marriage licenses in accordance with her religious convictions, and she now has been found apparently guilty of something. Ordered to pay $100,000 to 2 gay men whose marriage license she refused to sign, as if somebody else couldn't have signed it. This is kind of how it goes if you exercise your religious convictions in the public arena or as a government official. They will come after you. They will come after you, and they're coming after Kim here. Again, even though somebody else probably could have signed that license, I suspect. So see more information at our article at protestia.com. One of the notable parts of this, of course, was back in 2015. Russell Moore was the president of the ERLC, and he chastised her for not doing this. This is an article over at Pulpit and Pen from September 9th, 2015. And Southern Baptists bail on Kentucky clerk Kim Davis. A great number of Christians are supporting her for obeying her conscience, honoring her oath of office by upholding laws of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Both Southern Baptist presidential primary candidates Huckabee and Cruz were outside the jail to greet Davis upon her release. So you had political candidates running for president at that point who are Southern Baptist, Huckabee and Cruz, and they were out there to support her, and yet the president of the Southern Baptist Convention's ERLC, the lobbying arm of the convention, supposed to stand up for the religious liberty of Southern Baptists, was not supportive of her. So he said, Russell Moore basically said that she should have resigned from her position. That's who he was and continues to be. You can read more about this over at protestia.com. Next headline, To Infinity and Beyond, Pink Bear crucifies Buzz Lightyear in bizarre church Easter play. I mean, it wouldn't be an intelligence briefing unless we shot you one of these insane mega church worldling, world-pleasing, ear-scratching kind of videos. And this is Church of the Rock in Winnipeg, led by Pastor Mark Hughes, known for its unique Easter sermons, interpreting the death, burial, and resurrection of the Lord of Glory as Hollywood blockbusters. So they're the church that did, I think, the Iron Man crucifixion, as you can see in the picture here. Yeah, that's going on in a church service. So back in 2019, they did an Easter sermon, Joy Story. Like, get it? Not Toy Story, but Joy Story. Isn't that clever? And this is, let's see if what they were doing is in here. No, I think you'd have to go over to Protestia's Twitter to see this video. So I guess we're gonna send you that direction. Apologies if you don't have a Twitter account or X account or whatever they're calling it now. Last headline at Protestia: Paw Patrol, which is if I remember correctly, is a cartoon on like Disney Junior or something like this, introduces non-binary transgender character in new episode. This is over at The Dissenter, and actually I'm going to head over to that article and remember, it is Dissenter only with the I. If you take out all the vowels except for the I. Dissenter.com. Paw Patrol goes woke, introduces non-binary transgender character in new episode. And let's get this bigger for you. If this is it looks like Paw Patrol's Instagram, maybe. If you're in the mood for a Saturday morning cartoon, then you should watch my episode of Rubble and Crew. It's officially out in the world, and that means I can talk about it. I got to write an episode of Rubble and Crew, the construction spin-off series. So it's Paw Patrol's, it's such a big franchise apparently with kids that they have a spin-off series. So apparently, it was a proud moment for queer kid stuff writer Linz Amir when Nickelodeon's Rubble and Crew episode featuring its first non-binary character aired. On Instagram, this person enthusiastically declared, "I got to write an episode of Rubble and Crew. They brought me on to consult on the first non-binary character, River." In an overt display of LGBTQ propaganda targeting children, Amir further cheered, "I want to write a non-binary character that was aspirational and cool, someone for the pups and kids at home to look up to." And so this non-binary character, I guess, is the adult in this picture, not the anthropomorphic dog, and wearing trans flag colored shoes and socks, just to make, in case you weren't sure, now you can be sure. So head over to Protestia to get the link, or head straight to Dissenter to read this article. Paw Patrol goes woke and introduces a non-binary character. That is going to do it. Oh, one more thing, I guess, before we go. I guess the G3 conference is starting tomorrow. We originally had, as you may know, plans to be there, but could not be there, and so tickets that were donated, or I guess given to Protestia, we gave away, and hopefully the folks that we gave them away to are able to attend the conference. But we'll be watching closely. As some of you know, I have been paying very close attention to the Christian nationalism debate going on between the G3 fellows and some of the more vocal proponents of Christian nationalism. So we're going to be watching with a careful and discerning eye and goal towards figuring out what's going on, and honestly where they're getting it right and where they're getting it wrong. So thank you so much for tuning in for this episode of the Intelligence Briefing for Wednesday, the 20th of September, 2023. Stay tuned to protestia.com for all the latest in Christian polemics and discernment news. We'll see you again next time. As always, Semper Reformanda.